Hello everyone, today is article day. I recently just put out this new article in the Bankless newsletter titled A Digital Cultural Revolution, and it's something that just kind of it felt like it wrote itself, and I'm pretty happy about the way that it's landed, and so we're going to read it today on the Bankless YouTube. So here we go. A Digital Cultural Revolution. The cryptocurrency revolution is typically viewed as a revolution in money and technology. A crypto-economic system promises to usher in a new age of unbridled value transfer and value expression via the improvements in both scarce financial assets and technological mediums for leveraging these assets. Together, technology and money compose much of what makes society society. When these things change, we change everything. Much of what defines a society is mediated by the technological tools that we have available to create cultural expression. The cryptocurrency revolution is a revolution in money and technology, but the legacy of crypto will instead be a renaissance in human culture. Summary. This article is on the longer side, so here is a roadmap and a TLDR. The culture that is found in the world of crypto is unique and offers a strong tailwind towards the growth of this industry. The vibrancy of crypto culture offers a compelling environment to the younger generations who are struggling to find their place in the world. The social institutions that are supposed to be vehicles of wealth generation are actually only generating wealth for the older generations that captured them. Younger generations are not benefiting from these institutions. The institutions have rejected them, so in turn, they reject institutions. This is creating a societal crisis that is causing younger generations to be pessimistic about their future, and they are succumbing to massive compromises in their well-being, compromises that their parents never had to make. New social institutions are being constructed in the realm of crypto, and these new social institutions are particularly suited to the needs and wants of younger generations. NFTs and tokens at large offer opportunities for people to create rather than just labor. Tokens are tools for the monetization of one's own labor and enable those who can use them to route around entrenched institutions and establish intermediaries and generate a self-sovereign livelihood. Ethereum is well suited to enable the creation of infinite digital cultures, and these cultures have an economic foundation to stand on that the legacy world was not offering to them. A cultural revolution is upon us, and it will be powered by crypto. Much thanks to Amin Soleimani and Chris Berniski for their invaluable counsel for the formation of this article, and also thanks to the members of the Bankless Nation who provided critical feedback to making this article more digestible and coherent. Crypto culture. The world of cryptocurrency has cultivated its own unique culture, values, and communication styles. There are esoteric terminology, slang, memes, and the people are well versed in their ability to express these things through purely digital means. The crypto economic foundations that make up this industry, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are responsible for creating the environment from which crypto culture has been established. The specific flavor of cultural expression found in crypto culture is directly downstream of the code that produces Bitcoin and Ethereum. The values that are baked into these crypto economic systems extend outward from the code itself and into the community and the art that we share and value. There is a relationship between the nature of the cryptography that underpins these systems and the resultant communities that come to surround them. Value, a collective agreement. If something has value, it's because humans collectively agree it does. Value is true because humans make it so. It's a myth maintained by the social layer, shared by the collective. Value is intangible, yet it is a powerful unifying force of everyone that shares the myth. Because all humans know all others believe in the same story, value becomes self-fulfilling. Value, the monetary worth of something, the importance or usefulness of something, a fair return of or equivalent in goods or services. Values, a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. The assets that humans value are determined by our values. The market value of our financial assets is derived from our values created by the ethic that we live by. The true power behind the cryptocurrency revolution is its ability to eliminate the is-ought gap between what humans value and humans value. With crypto, humans have the tools to become more closely aligned with how we desire to be. The net result of crypto is the production of new cultural expression vehicles that enable humans to express their values with fidelity. This is critically important and perhaps the prime reason as to why this industry is so massively revolutionary. Humanity is perpetually on a mission to discover ways to express what it sees as good, and crypto offers a platform to make this process more efficient, effective, and accurate. Most humans are good and want to do good things for the world. Most humans wake up with the intention of helping society in whatever ways they can, while still making ends meet and living a comfortable life. Our ability to achieve good results depends on the systems that humans use to organize and coordinate. Not all organizational systems are equally capable of enabling humans to successfully achieve the desired results of being good. Certain environments and human organizational schemes enable the expression of more good than others. Environments flushed with resources make it easier to reduce suffering and to spread wealth, which is good, but there's variability in how humans manage to organize inside the environment they find themselves in. It's one thing if there are ample resources, but being able to distribute these resources in good ways requires organizational scaffolding that enables it. Organizational schemes. As discussed in A Bankless Nation, humans have organized and then reorganized themselves under different schemes across time, and these organizational schemes tend to be more and more socially scalable. Steve Jobs said, "Technology is a bicycle for the mind," implying that innovations in technology enable the brain to achieve more with less effort. Extrapolating that from the single human brain to the collective human hive mind, new and improved organizational schemes, feudalism, religion, the state, democracy, the internet, crypto, are enabled by innovations in social coordination technology. Our ability to organize and focus our energies is mediated by the technology that we have at our disposal. Crypto offers a new social scaffolding that allows us to better distribute our valuable resources in ways that are better aligned with our human values. Learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a term coined by Martin Seligman, a pioneer of the positive psychology movement. Learned helplessness is a condition in which a person suffers from a sense of powerlessness arising from a traumatic event or persistent failure to succeed. It is thought to be one of the underlying causes of depression. Learned helplessness is related to the concept of self-efficacy, the individual's belief in their ability to achieve goals. Learned helplessness theory is the view that clinical depression and related mental illnesses may result from real or perceived absence of control over the outcome of a situation. Learned helplessness in society. Societal institutions are entrenched. Wealth isn't circulating. Attempts to climb the social ladder and achieve the American dream are thwarted. Millennials are the first generation in history to believe that they are going to be worse off than their parents. Home ownership in young people is down. Inflation-adjusted income is down. Debt is up, both in student loans and credit cards. Young persons' positive beliefs about the future are at all-time lows. Millennials and Zoomers are the two current generations in which positive beliefs about the future are critically important. These two generations need to be positive about the future, as it's the primary source of motivation to get out of bed in the morning and work towards achieving goals. Young adults need to believe that they have the power to positively impact their own lives and the lives of people around them via their own agency and self-actualization. If they don't learn that these things are possible now, then these generations may become stuck in a state of learned helplessness. If you believe that the future is going to be worse, building motivation to expend the energy to try and build a better future will be difficult. If you don't believe that you have the ability to direct your own personal future for positive outcomes, then why even bother to try? Just keep your head down, go to your 9 to 5, come home, and watch Netflix. At least Netflix is only $12 a month. If you meal prep and you don't eat too much avocado toast, you may even be able to pay off your credit card. Meanwhile, millennials and Zoomer memes about depression Meanwhile, millennial and Zoomer memes about depression, suicide, and loneliness are relentless on Instagram and Reddit. If a meme catches traction, it's because many other people relate to it. Internet memes are a way for young people to express their emotions and offer a way to funnel their depression and pessimism into a creative outlet. We should take notice that a common way to establish commonality and express oneself with internet strangers is with memes about depression, suicide, and loneliness. While these are intended to be a lighthearted jest, they are also the product of the environment that millennials and Zoomers find themselves in. Society is in a state of learned helplessness, and it's because our institutions are rigid, fixed, and designed to protect entrenched players and protect the status quo. Here are some memes that I have discovered throughout my journeys trying to find the best memes to put in here. Why is being alive so expensive? I'm not even having a good time. Wow, how did you get so ripped? Every time I want to die, I do one push-up. The earth is dying, but at least we are dying faster. Hey, want to go out tonight? Sure, let me check if I have the energy. Oops, well that's no good. I guess I'll just borrow energy from tomorrow. Uh-oh, tomorrow is empty too. Ooh, well that can't be good. Not all of these can be read out loud. Unhelpful institutions. The institutions that were erected after the Great Depression and World War II produced one of the most progressive periods of human history. The 1950s to 2008 was one of the greatest periods of economic prosperity and technological advancement humanity has ever had. But just like everything else in this universe, institutions age. What was originally built to benefit all of society now only works for a small part of society. Older generations were able to enjoy the best years of these newly established institutions, and they latched onto them and never let them go. Rather than passing the torch to younger generations and allowing the institutions of the 21st century to adapt, evolve, and be inclusive of further generations, instead, older generations captured these 21st century institutions and sucked them dry. The older generations are still steering the ship of wealth and are declining to pass control down the line. The last 5 presidents of the United States have been baby boomers. The United States has been led by a baby boomer since 1992. That is my personal entire lifespan. Research leadership, or the direction that we focus our energies into society research and development, is a baby boomer-led movement. At the same time the student debt is reaching critical levels, university administration is inflated and leadership decisions are made by boomers. Headline from Washington Post. Baby boomers are what's wrong with America's economy. They chewed up resources, ran up the debt, and escaped responsibility. Why are so many of the world's top jobs still held by grumpy old men? Baby boomers are still clinging on to global levers of power. This one is the distribution of presidents and academic leaders, the people that are leading how we teach our young people. They're all boomers. It takes roughly the lifespan of one long human life for a social institution to be birthed, mature, and then age and become decrepit and senile. The generation that happens to be in their prime working years during the era in which institutions are at their best latch on to these institutions and capture all the value that they create. By happenstance, the generation that was positioned to take advantage of the prime years of these institutions used this era of prosperity and wealth to further expand these institutions to their maximal degree, as these generations believe that these institutions are good. Obviously, they believe these institutions are good because of how much value and wealth that these institutions created from the relevant generations. These new institutions are wealth-generating machines, and the generations that benefit from this wealth generation latch onto these institutions and proliferate them into monolithic gargantuans that grow to commandeer the lives of everyone. The generations that helped create these institutions never pass on the helm of the ship. They continue dictating the direction of everyone under the umbrella of these institutions, even though they were erected under completely different leadership and under completely different paradigms. Society and generations move on, but the institutions stay the same. Eventually, there is such a large discrepancy between the needs of society and what the institutions in power are capable of offering. As a result, the generations that come after these lucky generations receive less and less of the wealth that is created by these institutions, as the prior generations find more and more ways to capture all the value that is produced. The wealth does not trickle down. Because these institutions never find new leadership, new brains, or new innovators and new entrepreneurs, they begin to age just like the people that compose them. Eventually, they turn old and senile too, and the social leadership these institutions offer is fundamentally misaligned with the desired goals of subsequent generations that come after them. As a result, the social institutions reject the young folk, and the young folk reject the institutions, and a societal crisis occurs. In 2020, both the left and the right in America took to the streets and rioted. Distrust in institutions is at an all-time high. Wealth inequality. Younger people are increasingly pessimistic about our ability to vote our way out of issues because the older generations never seem to acknowledge their perspective that lets them get their way. See the 2020 Democratic primary between Bernie and Biden. Instead of playing the society game, younger people are just opting out and making memes about depression and helplessness. They have learned that they cannot succeed in this environment because the institutions are not on their side. New institutions, new culture. Younger generations are in dire need of new institutions. We can see this in the ways that they attempt to express themselves in their culture. Younger generations are in a state of learned helplessness, and they struggle to discover where they fit in today's society. Many are discovering that they can't actually find themselves a niche to build and excel in, and instead find ways to compromise on their expectations about the future and learn to be satisfied with minimum wage jobs and living with their parents. For younger generations, crypto culture is product market fit. Our memes are hilarious, our conversations are efficient, our lifestyle is digital. Crypto culture offers a new landscape both of economic output and cultural expression, and it's specifically tailored to digital nomads, forum surfers, laptop jockeys, counterculturalists, content producers, swipers, meme artists, bloggers, internet squads, cypherpunks. The cypherpunks created crypto culture. The history of crypto doesn't begin with Bitcoin in 2009. It begins with Martin Hellman, Ralph Merkle, Whitfield Diffie, Horst Feistel, Peter Elias, and David Chaum, and many of the others who were critical to the rise of cryptography and the cryptographic system that our industry relies on. What started out as a counterculture fight against the establishment for the freedom of cryptographic information has blossomed into crypto economic systems that create the foundational substrate on which infinite crypto cultures have been established. Cypherpunks know that cryptographic protocols make social structures. Cypherpunks don't care if you don't like the software they write. Cypherpunks know that software can't be destroyed. Cypherpunks know that a widely dispersed system can't be shut down. Cypherpunks make networks safe for privacy. Cypherpunks write code. The story of the cypherpunks is a story of permissionless creation. A group of people banded together under a commonly shared set of beliefs and values, each with unique capabilities to contribute towards something that they believed in and stood for. The desire to create. A counterculture of permissionless problem solving. A disregard for nonsensical, outdated, established norms. A readiness to escape from tyranny and oppression, and the willingness to adventure into new lands. The foundation of all crypto cultures is built on the backs of the cypherpunks. Infinite cultures. Thanks to the effort of the cypherpunks, we now have an alternative universe for money and finance. This realm is uninhabited and fertile. There are just two things missing in this new empty landscape: people and structures. The migration of people and their capital into this new realm has perpetually grown ever since the first Bitcoin block was mined in 2009. Slowly but surely, people have been migrating into this digital realm and setting up camp. These initial pioneers of crypto are the most culturally similar to the cypherpunks that established the foundation of this land in the first place. Independent, adventuring creators who have a vision for the future outside of the status quo. Ever since Bitcoin was introduced in 2009, and especially since Ethereum was formed in 2015, the migrants into this different realm have taken on different flavors than the purely CryptoPunk or cypherpunk cryptographers. Each new community that arrives in the cryptoverse is a new spin on the OG cypherpunk culture, and each community brings something new to the table that expands the fold. One of the first communities that settled into the cryptoverse were the libertarian gold bugs who saw the dormant potential that lay in Bitcoin. Each different application of the cryptoverse entices its own varieties of users to migrate over. After the ultra-libertarian Goldbergs and early CryptoPunks cypherpunks came more casual cohorts, all interested in a different specific flavor of what crypto has for offer. Dogecoin brought in a cohort of internet memesters. Nick Carter came in via Doge. I actually wouldn't call him an internet memester, although he is good at memes. BitShares brought in economic incentive tinkerers, which brought in Rune Christensen, founder of MakerDAO. Monero brought in privacy coins, brought in the privacy-minded. But with the introduction of Ethereum, an entirely new dimension opened up. Ethereum enables applications that don't want or care to be concerned with the fundamentals of what makes a crypto economic system operate. App developers on Ethereum don't have to worry about the hard problems of crypto economics, monetary policy, security, consensus, no matter. The Ethereum protocol takes on the hard problems of crypto economic system design and lets the application developers focus on what they want to focus on, producing their application. This is a massive boon to cultural creation. By eliminating the labor and energy that needs to be dedicated to blockchain design and sustainability, app developers can focus on creating value in their apps and incentivizing a community to band together and circle around the campfire that the app creates. Sadly, Dogecoin is just another L1 blockchain masquerading as a meme, and much of its vibrant community from 2013 to 2016 has moved on. Dogecoin was not a place of final settlement for the migrants looking to live inside the cryptoverse. BitShares was similarly economically flawed and constraining to the developers. While Monero and other privacy coins maintain a strong community, their growth hasn't kept up with the rest of the cryptoverse. These systems have not proven to be sufficiently sticky for migrants to be convinced to settle there. This is the power of Ethereum's application layer, a foundational substrate that creates economic viability for all possible cultures to be expressed. Early microcultures. The 2018 to 2019 bear market saw a mass exodus from the crypto space. As capital leaves, so do the people. Yet a few communities managed to hold on and kept their fires going. The Link Marines, the Synthetic Spartans, the AAVE Avengers. These communities suffered through 90% drawdown in asset valuations. Then they suffered through 2 more years of flat crypto prices before things began to pick up again. 2 years of poverty, 2 years of communities contracting into their truest and most convicted believers. The Discord channels for these communities were the campfires that kept the energy alive through a long, cold winter. Community members turned into community leaders and tended to the fire to make sure it kept everyone warm. Culture was created in these shared experiences of unexciting, low asset prices, yet relentless optimism and conviction about a successful future was present. Each different bear market community generated its own style of memes, jokes, and coping mechanisms as they waited out the winter together. And then spring came. AAVE, SNX, Link violently ended their bear markets by completely rejecting the pessimism expressed by all other assets in crypto and led the charge into DeFi Summer 2020 and where we are in the markets today. DeFi Summer happened, and out of it came the communities of Yearn, Sushi, Yams, Harvest, and many more, each with massive treasuries to help fund the development of both the product and the community. Each ecosystem has its own contributors, investors, developers, leaders, organizers, memers, or just believers. Some don't do much other than just sit at the campfire and be present, and that is enough. Each ecosystem has its own culture, and the culture is alive due to the shared conviction and sufficient funding via a collectively owned asset. The asset makes the community, and the community makes the asset. These communities and their shared cultures are amplified via the financial and economic tools that lies in their respective token. The token is the thing that funds these communities and allows them to tap into resources that help the community grow and proliferate. When these tokens go up in value, it brings in more community members who find resonance in the value of the token and the values of the community. NFTs are vehicles for cultural creation. Here's an excerpt from Stephen Levy of Wired. Though it might seem like NFTs have burst out of nowhere and into the news, the phenomenon has been inevitable since 1975. That's when 2 academic computer scientists Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman, made the public key breakthrough that brought us modern cryptography, enabling security and privacy in an online world. Their discovery also opened up cryptography as a creative tool in which scientists could cleverly transport the conventions and regimes of physical reality to the new burgeoning digital world. One of these innovators was cryptographer David Chaum, whose ideas made digital money possible. It was only a matter of time before Chaum's cryptocurrency concepts became mainstream, especially when it merged with another cryptographic innovation, the blockchain. If you could ascribe value to verifiably unique strings of bits and use as money, why not other strings of bits that represent artwork, tunes, or slam dunks? And once you've made the transition into collecting blockchain valuables, you can get really creative. It's no accident that NFTs are going wild during our lockdown state, when so much of our lives are played out on Zoom, Twitch, Clubhouse, and Amazon Prime. Novelist William Gibson famously described cyberspace, what became the internet, as a consensual hallucination. On a practical level, digital reality is just as real as the stuff that hurts our knees when we bang into it. NFTs merge that illusion with our long-standing consensual hallucination that something void of intrinsic value is actually precious and fungible. Our embrace of these hallucinations long ago overstepped what was once considered its bounds. Even when we are somewhere, we're somewhere else. If we don't buy that, try not to touching your phone for a day. Why shouldn't our ideas change about what holds value? As new as they are, NFTs are confronting us with the evidence of how much we're already in the matrix. We're the people who need people. Thank you, Stephen. That was poignant. The power that lies dormant under the innovation that is NFTs is about to erupt into the world of artistic creation. Justin Blau, more commonly known as Blau, raised $12 million in 24 hours by selling a combination of digital collectibles, exclusive music, and the rights to musical direction. In return, Justin was able to create a direct connection between his artistic creations and a list of 60 people that put $12 million into his pockets for the rights to these items. While Spotify is great for distribution, it sucks for data. That's because Spotify keeps all the data for itself. It provides the artists with no insights into who their fans are or the ability to communicate with them. Blau's top 60 fans are willing to collectively pay him $12 million, yet a platform like Spotify treats them like every other Blau fan, or worse, people listening via radio mix. As a result of the NFT token that Justin Blau issued on Ethereum, his fans were more capable of communicating their value to the music that he produces. Intermediaries broker the emotional relationship between artistic creators and artistic consumers. With intermediaries replaced by financial and economic software on Ethereum, the expression of culture through the digital arts will be able to flourish. Art is simply the ability for an artist to strike the senses of the experiencer. What happens when we generate incentivization vehicles, tokens, for the funding and development of the digital arts? The emotional response humanity will be able to access from its art will be revolutionary. Lowering the barriers. Ethereum democratizes finance, and that's what is happening with NFTs. It's just the beginning of the democratization of the value derived from art. Suddenly, the sharpest and most precise financial tool ever created is in the hands of content creators and the artists of the world. Through the power of tokens and at the scale of the internet, Ethereum disintermediates the distribution of art between our creator and our consumer. We have already seen the immense amount of energies that ICOs sparked in 2016 to 2018, and ICOs made no sense at all. Yet, the takeaway was Ethereum's innovation in capital formation. NFTs are taking the power of capital formation and directing it into the arts. Tokens are the tool for artistic creators of all scales to tap into the power of their creative energies and produce something of cultural expression. If the market values cultural expression, it will have the ability to communicate this to the creator through the token. How many jobs will Ethereum create by reducing the barriers for capital to flow into new lands of artistic creation? How many labor hours can be redirected from meaningless tasks in gargantuan companies into the land of free market cultural generation? NFTs offer a way for the younger, digitally native creators of the world to not rely on established and entrenched, permissioned infrastructure to help fund their personal well-being. While the issue of large misaligned social and political institutions are not simply fixed by NFTs. NFTs offer a cypherpunk alternative to how to allow the younger generations to bypass these gatekeeping institutions and empower them and us to secure a livelihood outside of the status quo. Not only do the legacy institutions of the world have to compete with the permissionless labor monetizing tools offered by Ethereum, but they also have to compete with the lifestyle that these tools offer. The freedom to work for oneself. No 9 to 5, no boss, just a creator and their computer. A quote from Vitalik's recent blog post. Even $1 billion of capital cannot compete with a project having a soul. The crypto wealthy will subsidize digital art. It makes logical sense that NFT spring is occurring after DeFi summer. It's simply the correct order of operations. Ether ran from $200 to $2,000, and along with insane amounts of new issuance of DeFi tokens, and hundreds of billions of dollars gets injected into the ecosystem and investments. Meanwhile, the high-powered growth also drives funding and investments into companies and supporting infrastructure as well, adding in jobs and salaries into crypto. And now, this newly created wealth is rotating out of digital finance and into digital arts. This is like only the millionth historical example of this happening. From an article, Tracing Renaissance Art to the Birth of Modern Banking. When it comes to the Renaissance, few of us would immediately equate the rich cultural fruits of the period with the birth of modern banking. Entitled Money and Beauty, Bankers, Botticelli, and the Bonfires of the Vanities, the exhibition in Florence's Palazzo Strozzi looks at how Florence's famous families got rich and how then they used their wealth to commission works from some of the world's most celebrated artists. You could say that some of these gestures were simply penitential. Oh boy. But then the banker begins to realize that in giving them money, he can begin to define the image that is produced by his money. And of course, one of the things he instinctively does, whether it's conscious or not, is use the image to change the attitude to money. That is, begin to use the image to undermine the resistance to money, said Parks. Money was feared, he said, not only because Christianity espoused poverty, but crucially because it allowed for social mobility and therefore undermined the set medieval hierarchies. Still, for a few years, the Medicis were in charge of papal finances. The artists were happy to oblige in order to ensure their economic prosperity. I want to pause here because I don't have this in the article and I need to put it in there. The takeaway here is that there was the social institutions of Christianity told people that poverty is good, and that was the social institutions of the day. And I need to research this. I'm not an expert in European history, but meanwhile, the popes and the Pope and religious institutions are collecting tithes and generating a ton of revenue. They're telling other people to be in poverty, and then they're collecting a bunch of money. There was corruption in those social institutions too. And the establishment of money and finance in the Renaissance in 1400s Europe, and specifically in Florence, put a lot of wealth into the hands of the people, specifically a very concentrated set of people, like a 1%, the bankers. But then the bankers financed art. And then using that financing of art, they changed the narrative of what it means to have finances and have money. And now we can extrapolate this into what's going on with NFTs, where crypto in the legacy world has this bad stigma, money laundering, crime, child porn, totally unwarranted, but yet the stigma is still there. Now this NFT revolution is behind us, and the crypto wealthy can use their wealth to direct the art of the digital artists who want to make art and do it for a living, and they will take the direction of the crypto wealthy to produce the art that the crypto wealthy wants, which will put the crypto wealthy into good light because they are the ones funding it. I was recently reminded of a clubhouse room I was in, which was a clubhouse room of artists talking about NFTs, specifically not crypto people, artists and artists alone. And the speaker said, then this is a direct quote, "I am so ready to suckle from the teat of the crypto bros, because they're going to pay me $1 bajillion to make that," and now I'm paraphrasing, they're going to pay me a lot of money to produce art, right? This is the exact same historical parallel that we're seeing. All right, back to the article. It's simple. Society advances and learns how to create wealth and prosperity. Wealth naturally concentrates and generates a wealthy cohort of people who have nothing better to do than to fund and finance the art that they wish to see created. Artists want to capture this wealth generated from innovations in finance and banking, and then they start to make art that suits the taste of the wealthy. Entire revolutions have come and gone due to this cycle. 1500s Florence, 1640 Amsterdam, 1870 Paris, 1950s New York, 2021 Ethereum? Ethereum is the new frontier. We have completed the exploration of the earth, and the new frontiers of money and finance and art has moved into a digital realm. The next cultural renaissance is digital, and it will be financed on Ethereum. Conclusion. The culture that is being cultivated in this space is the result of the awakening of younger people who are turning away from the notion of being simple cogs in the machine, and instead are focused on becoming self-actualized contributors to the world. Andrew Yang warns of a world in which much of the world's labor has been automated by machines and robots. We stand at a fork in the road where our future can turn into either a utopia or a dystopia. Without a place to redirect the energies of our younger generations into productive outputs, we will lose these generations forever to the basements of our parents, and the spirits of these generations could wither into nothingness. That's a dystopia. But with a place in which creative energies can be expressed and valued, we will have the opportunity of automating away all the low-value work and replacing it with time spent creatively. If robots are doing the labor and humans are creating art, that is a utopia. Let's choose the latter. Let the robots flip the burgers and let the people create the art. Let's choose the future in which people are free from the limitations on their paths towards producing a livelihood from themselves and others. Let's choose Ethereum. Let's choose crypto culture. So thank you everyone for bearing with me. I think I did a good job on this article, and I hope it lands pretty well. I think it will. So if you resonated with what you heard here, please share it, because we need to share crypto culture. It's up to you, the consumer of said information, to also proliferate it as widely as power and as far as power as you can. So thank you everyone for listening. Cheers.